Welcome to Layers of Communication with your host, Lydia Taggart. Life presents experiences that add a layer to who we are and how we see the world, affecting how we communicate. Lydia is here to help you take apart the layers and create new ways to connect and build relationships. So now, please welcome the host of Layers of Communication, Lydia Taggart.
So welcome to Layers of Communication. I'm super excited you're here today. The question of the day, the layer that we're talking about today is life fair? Is life fair? Is it supposed to be fair? What does fair mean to you, right? How do we interpret that layer of experience? Because it goes through all of our experiences, have kind of like, you go through time on everything, and then there's also this little filter of fairness. Is it fair? Is it right? Or, is it not? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. I was on a call last week with one of my coaches, and there was another gal on there, and she said, well, how is that fair? Speaking about a thing that she had bought into his program, and to get, the way she understood it, to get something else, she's going to have to pay again. And so she's like, how is that fair? I've already paid, blah, blah, blah. And he lovingly said, well, because life is fair. So of course it's fair. Why wouldn't it be fair? And then he explained to her also, after counseling and coaching her on look at your fairness filter, right? Then he said, you misunderstood. You get it. People who haven't signed up yet have to pay to get it. And so it was beautiful to watch this kind of come out, but I watched her kind of shrivel and like, oh, that was embarrassing to be caught in the group of thinking something's not fair and kind of whining and complaining a little bit, but really trying to get the right understanding and know where she's at. And sometimes we think people are complaining, but we're just looking for better understanding. So I want to make that clear too. The way we see people isn't always the way that they are thinking. We can't read their minds. Okay, so, sorry, I gotta adjust my chair a little bit. This is not the best setup. We're gonna change next time. Anyway, my kids, when they were little, we had big talks about fairness. If I have learned anything at all from having quadruplets, we are so individual. We are not the same. Be born in the same family, same circumstances, in the same minute. 4 kids born in the same minute, literally. And they're so different, so different. So when they're getting together with their cousins, they're little, like maybe 5 years old or so. And I have my other 2 boys that are older. And we're like 5, 6, 7 years old with all of them. And their cousins, we're all at grandma's. They've got a trampoline out in the backyard. And I had said, we're not playing on the trampoline today. That's our family rule. We're not going to do that today. We have other things happening. And whatever the reason was, we're not playing on the trampoline today. And they knew that before we got there. I explained it before we got there because you've got to set kids up for success. You can't just be like, no. Explain it to them so they understand and they're on board and everyone agrees, right? So we get there, everybody knows we're not going out to play on the trampoline. Cousins go out to play on the trampoline. And my son looks at me and says, that's not fair. They get to jump on the trampoline. Why don't I get to jump on the trampoline? I was like, well, because you're different people, you have different needs, and we're going to blah, blah, blah. And that was okay. Well, it came back to bite me in the butt a little bit later, like a year or so later. I don't even know how long ago it was. But sometime later, we're at grandma's again, and he asks to go jump on the trampoline. And I said, well, we hadn't talked about it before, so I didn't have an answer right away. And I said, well, it wouldn't really be fair if you went out and jumped and your sister's in a dress, so she shouldn't jump on the trampoline. He looked right at me and said, well, Mom, life's not meant to be fair. So, of course, he got to go jump on the trampoline, and my daughter colored or something else instead, because that's the power of understanding and knowing you're different people, you have different needs. So fast forward to just this last weekend. My kids are 13, my son just turned 16, and I have a 17-year-old. So they're much older, much more teenagers. They're teenagers. So we forget things sometimes. And it doesn't stop when we get older. We forget who we are, what our plan is. We forget stuff. We get distracted and we just don't remember. So we had forgotten about this fairness, I guess. Teenage years are a little bit harder. They're just more individually stressful because you're this person who's transitioning from childhood into adulthood. How do I become all the way self-reliant, and all these, who am I really? All these things come up, right? Trying to find out who we really are as a teenager. So my daughter, my sweet daughter, she sits on the couch. She had an issue that we needed to discipline for. And disciplining is reminding and educating, and oh, you're going to have a consequence for that choice, for that action. And we're going to work with it. We're going to make it better. Disciplining, in my mind, for me, is that you get a better understanding of how to be a better person from an outside point of view, right? And that's the great thing about coaching too. If you have a life coach, make sure they're treating you as an individual and paying attention to your personal needs. Yes, we all have things in common. We're all human. But this is why each one of my clients has personal personal, individual steps to take. They're just theirs. You could get custom program just for you because we're individuals. So my daughter's sitting there, and we had kind of a meltdown day. We have those every once in a while, don't you? Where it's like a domino, just someone's grumpy, and then that makes this happen, and that makes this happen, somebody else is grumpy, and we just go through it. We had that. So my daughter's sitting on the couch, and I say, you're going to wait, you're last. And she listened to me discipline 3 other kids before it was her turn. And we did this at bedtime. So it just always seems to happen at bedtime that we're having this discussion, like, the day's over, what are we going to do better tomorrow, right? And so she just starts bawling her eyes out. It seems like you treat them different than me. It's not fair. You're harder on me than them. Okay. And this is a key point too. If you're talking to your kids or your spouse or anybody else, if you're trying to communicate with them, when we are busy crying and overcome with emotion, we're going to experience that emotion. We're not going to be able to listen or have a meaningful conversation. So I said to her, go ahead and cry. Let me know when you're ready to talk. And I sit there, I stay there with her so she knows that I'm not leaving the conversation. I'm not just abandoning her and letting her deal with it herself. I'm still there supporting and waiting for her to have a conversation with me, right? So the conversation goes kind of like this. Of course I treat you different. You're my girl. Of course. Of course. You have different needs. And we all do, don't we? We have different desires and goals and hopes. We have different needs. Individual experiences that make us different. All of those layers are unique to each of us. Even if we've been through the exact same experience, we are not the same people as each other. That was a grammar mistake. But you know what I mean, right? You're individual. My daughter is not one of my sons. And each of my sons are very different. And so I explained this to her. If one of my boys, they're all into scouting and stuff, it's really great to see them, especially Stephen, my oldest. He's into the Order of the Arrow now, the service project group, and it's awesome. He's in a leadership position. If he were in trouble and I would say, you know what, you're going to lose this privilege. I'm not going to take you to the Order of the Arrow meeting. You're going to lose that privilege. If I told that to my daughter, who cares? Okay, I wasn't going anyway, whatever. It has no effect on growth or learning at all if it doesn't apply to us. If I told my boys, I'm going to take away your nail polish. I don't have nail polish. Whatever. Okay, great. I don't want nail polish. Maybe I'll mess up and make that mistake again so I don't have to have nail polish. It doesn't affect them. If I told my daughter that I was going to take her nail polish away, it would be completely different. It would affect her. So life's not meant to be fair, but life is fair because it's individualized to each of our individual needs. Individual needs. Say that 10 times fast. Individual needs. We are unique. So that's part one. Of course, we're treated different. Of course. I would not want to be treated the same as someone else because I am not them. Okay. Now we have a general outline, a general template of how we discipline, right? And I pointed this out to my daughter too. Same thing that she watched with the other boys. We have a situation that needs correcting. We offer suggestions, we work on the consequence, and we say, hey, by the way, I still love you and you're awesome. Same thing, it doesn't matter who it is. We have a situation, let's try to fix it. You're awesome, I love you, thanks for being here. And that part is the same. But the situation itself is individual. So here's the next part. You're gonna love this. This is phenomenal. So we're talking about how she's individual, and scouting won't matter to her if she had that taken away as a consequence. We're different people. And so here's the next part. Because it's something that matters to us, because it's our problem that we're being brought to attention, that there's an issue, because it's close to us and it's ours, we feel it more. We feel it. And that's why it seems like other people are getting off easy when we have it hard, because their stuff is not our stuff. So who cares? It's yours. You go deal with that. You go ahead. But if it's something close to our heart or something that we have made a mistake personally, that's going to hit home a lot harder than somebody else. And it's the same thing with the consequences. And that's why it feels like life's not fair, because it's personal. And we see other people getting off easy, but it's not easy for them if it's their story and it's their personal and it's their consequence they have to deal with. Then it's hard for them. And it's fair. Life is fair. Life is great. Life is so good. You're so special and unique, and it's not meant to be the same for everyone, because you have individual needs and individual blessings and talents and skills. You're my daughter. Oh, I just admire her. She has dyslexia. She's left-handed. She's the only girl in the family. She's got all this stuff that makes her different. And she is so different. And she just takes it and goes, oh, okay, you're right, Mom. What if we did that when we were confronted with a situation that needs correcting? And we go, oh, life's not fair, but maybe it's supposed to be this way. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And, by the end of our time together, and I want all of you parents out there, all of you should have this at the end of your conversations. Increased love. Never end a conversation, especially at bedtime. Never end a conversation where you're not both in agreement and happy about it and completely understanding. Now, I've learned with one of my kids, he just loves to annoy people, right? He loves to push the buttons. So when we're having these disciplined conversations with him, he will be, yeah, but why? Oh, really? Are you sure about that? Oh, and he just tries to push the limits so much. So when that happens, because I know there's a lot more teenagers seem to be like that than what my daughter, her reaction was, right? So what we do with that is, and I just look at him. I'm not going to feed it. I'm not going to feed his, going to get annoyed. And over time, he has learned, oh, I'm pushing that line a little too far. And if I stop and I take a breath, try to control myself, he sees that. He's like, oh, mom's trying to control herself. Sorry, mom, I'm sorry. And he says sorry a lot, which I really admire, really admire. But if we want our kids to apologize and correct, we need to do that as well. We need to take it on ourselves. And so I also say sorry a lot. But sorry, I'm late today. Sorry, whatever. There's always room for improvement in every one of us. We're all human. We all make mistakes. And that's the template for you. All right, so today, consider who it is. Is there someone? Probably yes. So consider who it is that you might need to apologize to. Even if you don't want to stir the pot, it was last week, it was last month, whatever, you don't have to go out and stir it up again. But apologizing is not for them. Apologizing is for us to be able to have a clear communication, to dissolve that layer. We need to apologize. And imagine that they accept your apology, and imagine that they apologize back, because they would. Why wouldn't they? Of course they would. They know you're coming from a place of love and asking forgiveness. The natural, most people, I take that back, most people, there are a few rare instances where they're like, nope, can't forgive you, not gonna. But most of the time, if you take in your mind this mental image of, I'm going to have my higher self apologize to their higher self. Our higher selves, they're on a higher level, and they love each other. We apologize. We just love each other. It's no problem. Consider that. Okay. There's a situation that needs to be remedied. There's something to do about it, and we increase our love. We say, thank you for being here, and I love you. I love you for it. And you're an individual. So there we go. That's all we're going to have today. You can find me on layersofcommunication.com or lydiataggart.com. I look forward to seeing you again next time. We're going to be talking with a guest. His name is John. If I'm on the right week, we're going to have him come in and visit with us about fears, the layer of fear, and how that interacts with our relationships and what we can do better. All right. If you have any other questions, please let me know. I would love to go over them with you. Someone has suggested that I wiggle less, and so that was the attempt in this chair. I'm not wiggling less. I'm making it squeak more. So we'll just try again. And that's the other thing that we're learning today. You'll learn so much. Practice, experiment, try it again. We start it over again. If it doesn't work, start it over again. I'm going to sit in a different chair next time because sunshine. All right. Thanks for being here. See you later. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Layers of Communication with your host, Lydia Taggart. Tune in next week as we discover the layers in order to communicate and connect down to your core on Lydia Taggart's Layers of Communication.